The most important lesson I've learned is that setting expectations, whether you're dealing with someone who's more, say, artistic and less operational, someone who's operational and less creative, I think setting expectations, this applies to intimate relationships as well. As long as you do your best to set expectations up front. If you make a mistake, you have to own up to that mistake. A lot of people don't, and it's surprising to me. I think that positive thinking is overrated. Thinking is necessary but not sufficient. I've met some tremendous meditation teachers, and some of them defy this description, but they're outside of the action. So they're at a monastery somewhere with minimal inputs, and they're the picture of patience and calm and so on. And when you throw them onto the front lines and people are telling them to f off and they're honking behind them, they lose their shit. You need to make yourself uncomfortable. That's why in the 4-hour work week, these comfort challenges are so important. They seem silly, but there's a very evident or important benefit that you get from, say, going into a Starbucks and laying down on the floor for 20 seconds and not saying anything to someone and then just getting back up. And that's a comfort challenge. Most people do not want to do it. And they'll do that and they'll get up and they'll be like, wow, I was so nervous about that and nothing bad happened. And when you expand your sphere of comfortable action by doing things that make you marginally uncomfortable, you get better at asking yourself and answering the question, what's the worst that could happen? And you realize, not much. Really, I've done all these other things I thought were going to be these horrible experiences, and I was totally fine. So let me try A, B, or C that I am worried about or was previously worried about. So I think that you have to inoculate yourself against fear. Wait until the timing is right. And how is the timing right? For instance, like if I want to reach out to an A-list celebrity to be on my podcast, I am going to try to figure out through back channels or their managers or whatever when they are going to be doing press junkets to promote something they're doing, because that is when they'll be scheduling all of this stuff. And I will not waste my breath and infuriate the team by trying to be insistent outside of those pockets of time, because they are just as busy, if not more busy than I am. In the spirit of the show, trying to show people that they can do a lot more in very short periods of time than they ever thought possible. If you could become world class at any skill in the next 6 months, what would that skill be? And particularly if it's something that you dreamed of and put up on a shelf and gave up on, because I think that's plenty of time to accomplish that type of thing. My definition of greatness in the moment is trying to be just a little bit better, inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter, whether it's the next day or the next week, and not beating yourself up about it. If you fail for an entire week, for an entire month, just get up and brush the dirt off and get back to it. It's not a straight line. It's a very jagged, intimidating, sometimes exhausting experience. Nobody who does huge things just takes off like one smooth rocket shot. And I think people should keep in mind that whether it's the biggest names you can imagine, the billionaires and the icons and the rock stars, all of these people have self-doubt. They have moments where they want to give it all up and quit and just sleep under the covers and not get out of bed for the day. So my definition of greatness is recognizing that's part of the human condition. You're not a failure if you feel that way. I certainly feel that way quite a bit. And we were talking even today, facing your fears and not necessarily worrying about always overcoming them, but just being confident enough and having taken the leap of faith to at least stand up and face your fears, I think is my definition of greatness.